So the first question to ask yourself, any of you, about what it is that is something you've been hanging on to for a very long time, that is a part of your life that you find almost impossible to change. Even though you know what to think and you've been to all the seminars, you've read the books, you've done the right things, you still find yourself going back and slipping back into habituated ways of behaving and thinking, right? And what I'm suggesting to all of you here today is that in moments, like for every single person who this morning decided to do something about their sugar intake based upon what we did yesterday, you have demonstrated that you are now about to embark on a new way of being. You've demonstrated it. Even if you just checked a package and seen how many sugar grams were in what it was you were going to eat and then ate it anyway, it doesn't matter. Even if you smoke Pakalolo every single day and you said, you know what, maybe this isn't good for my brain, but I think maybe tonight I'll just think about it tomorrow. You're on your way. Because we become what we think about, whether we want it or not. If you have a choice to think a thought that may or may not be true, but thinking that thought will keep you from where you want to go, versus thinking a thought that may or may not be true, but thinking that thought will at least give you a chance to get to where you want to be, why do we continue to take the first choice when the second choice is the only option we have for changing our conception of ourselves? But we train ourselves through this subconscious meme training that we've had to start believing in things that are going to keep us from ever getting where we want to go. If you have a choice to think a thought that may or may not be true, but it will keep you from getting to where you want to be, versus thinking a thought that may or may not be true, but will at least give you an opportunity to get there, what's the choice? This is what Lao Tzu was telling me over and over and over again. Teach people to take the excuses that they use and to put them into a context that may or may not be true, and ask them to reverse it, and then pick the one that will at least get you to where you want to be. The woman that sat next to me on the airport, I've never forgotten her. She was a photographer here on Maui. She was doing a wedding, and then she was on her way back. We were sitting on an airplane on American Airlines, and she put above the seat a whole bunch of photographic equipment, and I asked her about it, and I said, what do you do? She said, I'm a photographer. I said, do you like it? Do you enjoy it? She said, yes. She said, but I'll never get rich at it. And I said, would you like to get rich? And she said, of course, who wouldn't want to be rich? And I said, let me see if I understand you. You would like to be rich, but the thoughts you carry around in your head are, I'll never get there. What's the reverse of I'll never get there? I will get there. It's on its way. In fact, I'm already here. Why wouldn't you think that thought? So now, the second question is, where did these thoughts come from? They came from you. You bought into all of this stuff. All of us bought into this little stuff. The I'm too young or I'm too old. Like our age has something to do with what we can create or do in our lives. There's endless examples of people who've overcome that. You know, Louise Hay started Hay House Publishing at the age of 61. It's 22 years. She's 83. CEO of the largest publishing company in the world on spiritual and higher consciousness materials. And she started it at 61 because she didn't buy into that meme. So what I say to you is that there were kids in school next to you who were told the very same thing that you were told. Your siblings were told the same things by the same mother. Some of your siblings didn't buy into that at all. And some of them did, and some of them got scared. And what I say to you is, even though you didn't know it at the time, you were still making choices to buy it. If you're not willing to take responsibility for having chosen to carry around these beliefs, then you have no chance of overcoming them. You have as much chance as if you send your mother to me and I treat her and you expect to get better. It just isn't going to happen. So I say to you, the answer to the second question is, I chose them all. And I say that to you about everything, even your most serious illnesses. Take responsibility for it. It's yours. You own it. Don't feel yourself that you were being punished, that it was some karmic debt, that there was something bad happened in a previous life, and you were an axe murderer, and now you're getting this. Don't do that. But take responsibility for it, because the minute you say, I chose it, it's mine, I carry it around with me, I live with it, I breathe with it, I bleed it, which is what I do with my leukemia. That's what I do with it. It's mine, I own it, I took it on, and that's the only chance I have of saying goodbye to it. It's the only chance. I can blame this girl or that girl or my children or, all of the different traumas in my life. I can blame the environment. I can blame the food we eat, the mercury in the fish. I can blame it all, the Ayatollahs. It's got to be somebody else's fault. It can't be mine. I don't get leukemia. It's mine. I was a vibrational match to it. I take responsibility for it. And now the third question is, what are my payoffs? What do you think is the major payoff? I go through about 10 of them in the book. The payoff for using the meme, psychological payoffs, avoidance of doing what I came here to do. It's simply easier. Now here's the fourth question, and this is all I'm going to do. What would your life look like if you couldn't use those excuses that you've been using? If you just couldn't come up with them, if somehow I wired your brain in such a way that you could not think those three thoughts, what would your life look like? If you couldn't think the thoughts that you've been thinking that are keeping you from where you want to be, you would feel more joy, more accomplished. What I'm saying to all of you is that if you want to overcome any of the things that you think came to you as a result of abuse, abandonment, brokenness, despair, depressed parents, whatever it might be, certainly don't exclude that and just toss it out the window and say it's not relevant, but recognize that you just didn't have the strength then, but that was then and this is now. So the bottom of this scale is 20. It's the very lowest thought that you can have, and it will always weaken you. Not only will it weaken you, but it will ultimately destroy you, such as its weakness. It's at 20, it's shame. So if you are using shame on yourself, or you're using shame as a way of parenting or working with others, what you are doing is you are always using an emotional energy that will weaken. The emotion that accompanies shame is called humiliation. And the life view is one of misery, and the God view, the view of God, is one of despising. God despises us. We are ashamed. There's something wrong with us. The next level up, which is very, very low and will always weaken you, is 30, is guilt. Feeling guilty. The emotion that accompanies it is blame. The God view is one of God as vindictive. God is punishing. And the life view is one of life is evil. There's something wrong with life. The next level up is one that's called 50. And this level is the emotion that accompanies that is despair. So that apathy and despair go together. The God view is one of God as condemning, and the life view is that life is hopeless. There's not much that we can do. The next level up is 75, which still weakens us. It's grief. The emotion is regret. God's view is disdainful. And the life view is one of tragic. Life is tragic. We are now moving to 100, which is called fear. And the emotion that accompanies fear is anxiety. The God view is one of punitive. God is punishing. And life view, frightening. Life is frightening. Now we move up to 125, what he calls desire. And the emotion that accompanies that is craving, always wanting to get someplace else. The life view is one of life is disappointing. And the God view is denial, denying. Now we move to 150. We are still at emotions and thoughts that you have that will weaken you. At 150, the emotion that accompanies it is hate. The life view is that life is antagonistic. And the God view is that God is vengeful. We are now moving closer to that which will strengthen us, to something called pride. Pride. And the emotion that accompanies pride is called scorn. The life view is that life is very demanding. And the God view is that God is indifferent. Doesn't care one way or the other. Now we move to 200. We are now making a distinction between being able to recognize truth from falsehood. This is called courage. And the emotion that accompanies courage is affirmation, affirming, life is affirming. The life view is that it is feasible. And the God view is that God is permitting. God allows us. All right. Now we move to 250. We are now talking about emotions and thoughts which strengthen us. At 250, trust is the emotion. Neutrality is the level of thought. The life view is life is satisfactory, and that the view of God is that God is enabling. God enables us. We move now to 310, what he calls willingness. Willingness. Whereas the emotion of willingness is something called optimism, an optimistic view of life. The life view is that life is hopeful. And the God view is that God is inspiring. Now we have moved from God being despising and vindictive and punitive and vengeful and indifferent and permitting and enabling to now God is inspiring. At 350, acceptance, the emotion is forgiveness. I accept and I forgive. The life view is that life is harmonious, and the God view is that God is merciful. Mercy. We now move to 400, where very, very few people ever get to, called reason. The emotion of reason is understanding. The life view is that life is meaningful. There's a meaning to all of this. And the God view is that God is not only merciful and inspiring, but God is wise. Wisdom comes with knowing God. Now we move to 500, which we're talking about a handful of people. The level is called love. The emotion is reverence. The life view is that life is benign, non-cancerous, non-debilitating. And the God view is that God is loving. At 540, the level of joy, where there is sadness, let me bring joy, remember. The emotion is serenity, a sense of just being serene in life. The life view is that life is complete. I am complete. And the God view is that all is one. All is one. At 600, the level of peace, the emotion is bliss. So it's not just serenity, but it's bliss, which is that wonderful, great, good feeling, continuous. Life view, life is not only complete, it is perfect. And the God view, all being. And finally, enlightenment, between 700 and 1,000. The emotion that goes with the sense of enlightenment is what he calls the ineffable. Ineffable. Life view, everything is. There's no judgment. And the God view, self. The self is God. What follows is my 10-step program for implementing the intentions to attract the right people into your life. Step 1. Move away from hoping, wishing, praying, and begging for the right person or people to show up in your life. Know that this is a universe that works on energy and attraction. Remind yourself that you have the power to attract the right people to assist you with any desire, as long as you're able to shift from ego-driven energy to match up with the all-providing source of intention. This very first step is crucial, because if you can't banish all doubt about your ability to attract helpful, creative, loving people, then the remaining 9 steps will be of little use to you. Intending ideal people and divine partners begins with the knowing in your heart that it's not only a possibility, but a certainty. Step 2. Conceptualize your invisible connection to the people you'd like to attract to your life. Let go of your exclusive identification with the appearance of your body and its possessions. Identify with the invisible energy within you that sustains your life by directing the functions of your body. Now recognize that this same energy source flowing through the people you perceive to be missing from your life, and then realign yourself in thought with that person or persons. Know within you that this power of intention connects the two of you. Your thoughts of creating this merger also emanate from that same field of universal intention. Step 3. Form a picture in your mind of meeting the person or persons you'd like to have assist you or be in partnership with. Manifesting is a function of spiritual intention, matching up in vibrational harmony with your desires. Be as specific as you'd like, but don't share this visualizing technique with anyone else, because then you'll be asked to explain yourself, defend yourself, and have to deal with the low energy of doubt that will inevitably occur. This is a private exercise between you and your source. Step 4. Act upon the inner picture. Begin to act as if everyone you meet is a part of your intention to attract ideal people into your life. Share with others your needs and desires without going into detail about your spiritual methodology. Be proactive and stay alert for signs of synchronicity, never ignoring them. If a truck drives by with a phone number advertising what you need, jot the number down and call it. See all so-called bizarre coincidences surrounding your desires as messages from Source and act upon them immediately. I assure you that they'll occur repeatedly. Step 5. Take the path of least resistance. Resistance is lowered energy. Source is high energy. High, creative, expansive energy. When your thoughts are low energy vibrations, you simply can't attract the high energy people you need or desire. Even if they came rushing up to you announcing, "Here I am, how can I serve you? I'm willing and able," and carrying a sign saying, "I'm yours," you wouldn't recognize or believe them while you're so busy trying to attract more of what you can't have and don't deserve. Step 6. Practice being the kind of person you wish to attract. As I've touched on before, if you want to be loved unconditionally, practice loving unconditionally. If you want assistance from others, extend assistance whenever and wherever you have the opportunity. If you'd like to be the recipient of generosity, then be as generous as you can, as frequently as you can. This is one of the simplest and most effective ways of attracting the power of intention. Step 7. Detach from the outcome and practice infinite patience. This is the crucial step of faith. Don't make the mistake of evaluating your intentions as successes or failures on the basis of your little ego and its personal time schedule. Put out your intention and practice everything that I'm speaking about in this tape, and then let go. Create a knowing within and let the universal mind of intention handle the details. Step 8. Practice meditation, particularly the japa meditation, to attract ideal people and divine relationships. Practice the repetition of the sound that is in the name of God as a mantra, literally seeing in your mind's eye the energy you're radiating, bringing the people you desire into your life. You will be astounded by the results. Step 9. Look upon everyone who has ever played any role in your life as having been sent to you for your benefit. Everything and everyone in your personal history had to be there when they were. And what's the evidence for this? There they were. They were there. That's all you need to know. Don't use what transpired in the wake or the wrong people who showed up in your wake as a reason why you can't attract the right person today. It's your past, nothing more than a trail you've left behind. And finally, step 10, as always, remain in a state of eternal gratitude. Even be grateful for those whose presence may have caused you pain and suffering. Be thankful to your source for sending them and to yourself for attracting them to you. They all had something to teach you. Now be grateful for everyone God sends to your path, and know as a co-creator that it's up to you to either resonate with the high, loving energy of intention and keep those like-energized people in your life, or give them a silent blessing and a pleasant no thank you. And the emphasis is on the thank you, for that is true gratitude in action. Through relationships with others and by using the power of intention, we can radiate outward all of the energy necessary to attract what we desire. I urge you to move into this awareness now and know in your heart, just as the farmer in Field of Dreams knew, that if you build this inner dream, surely it will come. You have to send away all blame for everything in your life. All right? All blame must go. You can't be blaming anything that's going on in your life. Your birth order, it doesn't matter whether you're the youngest, the oldest, the middle child. It's like wherever you are is where you were supposed to be. And if your parents did anything, you remind yourself that they did what they knew how to do. You can't ask any more of anyone. And forgive them, whatever it is. Whoever in your life is causing any dissonance, any anguish, any pain, whoever they are, any grudges that you've had, any anger that you're holding on to, anything that's lasted a long time, forgive. And if you keep that in mind and take all the blame out and say, I created who I am. My personality is who I chose. If I have been shy, I didn't inherit shy genes. I have been making shy choices. I am not a nervous person. I have been making nervous choices. I am not a person who's not good at selling. I have been making non-selling choices. Just for a moment, just take a couple of minutes and just kind of calm yourself down and try this with me. Just try it. Hold your hand out if you want to. I mean, however you want to do it. And picture in your hand a lemon. Kind of close your eyes if you want to and listen to my instructions. And take the lemon and feel the texture of the lemon. And open your eyes and look at it. See if you can see a lemon there. See if you can see the little bumps that are on a lemon. See if you can see the little green nub on one end and how it comes to sort of a little point at the other end. And feel it. And feel a little bit of the moisture almost that's on the skin. Just practice for a second. Just take a knife, a paring knife, your favorite knife, and just cut it right down the center, right in half. Right? Just kind of slice it in your hand. And then take the pointy-ended side and put it away. And then take the other half of the lemon and look at it. And run your finger along the top of it and feel the moisture. Can you feel that? Now take the lemon, and as you hold it and see that lemon, just move it up close to your nose so that you can smell it. Just bring it right up and smell the fragrance of it. See if you can actually smell the citric acid. Now hold it close to your nose. Now take it back down. Now open up your mouth and take the lemon and move it up close to your mouth, as close as you can get it, and take a bite right out of it. Go ahead, just take a bite out of it. Now what's happening in your mouth right now? Okay. Do you have saliva in your mouth? Most of you have. You're going to get a little more in about another 5 seconds. You feel the saliva coming into your mouth? Why is saliva coming into your mouth? Because citric acid is attacking your mouth right now. And the only defense you have against citric acid in the billions of years of evolution that have produced you is saliva. Saliva goes into your mouth to fight it. It's still there, isn't it? Mouth kind of dry. You feel it? That's visualization. It's nothing difficult. There's nothing complex about it. That's what hypnotism is. The importance of visualization for me and imagery can be related to almost every single thing that you do in life. If you're a salesperson and you visualize a sale not working out, or even if you have that thought that that person probably won't want to buy this thing from me, or they won't want to close on this deal that we have agreed to, if you think that way and visualize it that way, you're creating the opportunity for you to have exactly that happen to you. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you see it in your mind as working out, closing the deal, getting someone to buy the product, whatever it is, and if you're selling brake linings to a hardware store, and you can see the brake linings on their shelf, and you can see the receipt, and you can practice that image and see it, and then operate on that image. If it doesn't work out, let's start from that premise. You say, all right, instead of, see, this guy's wrong, I knew that this karma stuff, and I don't want to hear any more of this stuff. You don't do that. You say, there's something in this for me. It's not supposed to be working out right now. I wonder what I can do to learn from that. Let me re-examine it. Let me look at it. You don't blame anybody else, all right? Blame must go. If you are going into a tax audit,
and you believe that it's not going to work out, you are going to act out on that auditing image that you have in your mind. And you will not prepare yourself in the same way as if you believe that you're not going to have to pay more taxes and that you've been an honest taxpayer and that you filled out your forms properly and that you are entitled to not have to pay additional taxes, and that's how you're going to operate. And you get an accountant who believes that as well, and you go in from that premise, you'll find yourself having much, much less difficulty than if you go in saying, they're going to look through my records, it's going to take 2 days, they have no right to go through all of these things, I hate it when they do this, and you go through this whole process. You are creating what it is that you don't want for yourself, because you're going to operate and behave on the basis of whatever image you have. If you believe it's going to be nasty, you're going to start behaving in ways to have that outcome come about. If you want to get a parking place, you can image yourself seeing one. Instead of looking for no place to park, you begin to see yourself as having one. If you want to have health, you begin to see yourself looking and feeling and acting the way you want to, and never detracting from that picture. And you can make that happen for yourself in your life. If you don't want negative things to go on in your life, then practice visualizing and having positive affirmations toward the things that you previously thought negatively about. Your thought processes create the images that you have. Those images create the behavior, and you can't back one up from the other unless you're willing to think that it's going to work out, and that's the premise you're operating from. That's a very important point for people if they want to be enlightened. If you believe that it's going to work out, then you'll start to see opportunities. If you don't, then you'll see obstacles.